Well, I'm ready, so. Alright, Disgaea 2. It's Tactics RPG series, the second one. I'm going to explain a few things real quick before we get into the basic mechanics, so I'm just going to be doing a few things here. Don't pay too much attention to that. So, the original part of this route was to use a single mage through the entire game, because when you play the game casually, you'll notice that using magic is really powerful because there's a lot of range on magic, and the AoE panels is really high, and you can just outrange everything. But turns out it wasn't actually the fastest way to do it, because enemies are randomly resistant to each of the three elements. They're randomly either weak, neutral, or resistant. So right now I'm just going through the tutorial with the main character, Adele. So the main change in the route is the fact that someone in my chat actually said, why don't you use the DLC characters? They come at level 100 and you can just poison them to get them. I'm like, well, that seems kind of silly, so I don't know if I want to use just level 100 characters to kind of break the game.
I don't think the DLC works on PSTV actually.
But it doesn't matter, though, because the second part of that, the fact that you can poison things to kill them, that kind of changed the entire route from the very beginning to the very end. There's no similarities. It's going pretty much pure physical at this point. And the main thing that makes this game different is the Dark World, which is a series of post-game maps. And to unlock it, once the tutorial is finished, you have to hit these switches on the hub, which I will be doing. By the way, you can throw Pernies and they explode. That's what I'm doing right now. Just kind of a general mechanic is that you have this lifting and throwing. You can lift enemies, lift and throw your own characters to get a lot of movement. So
very cheap wins on the early maps.
So right now I'm just making a few characters to lift, and the thieves here to use poison. I'm gonna use 3 thieves. Poison does 20% damage each turn, and the thief with their steal health skill that they get at level 1 works 100% of the time. So the main reason why it's great to be using the Dark World or the post-game maps is because of the bonus gauge. You might have seen it like come up at the very end. There's a switch here. And those have a random list of items. So I'm actually going to save scum for the very top item on the list to be a weapon. You have to beat this Dark Worlder to unlock the Dark World. So if I don't get this within like 10 tries, I'll just load a backup save. I'll actually do this map and show that I can do this, and just load up a backup save. But yeah. So that's 2 resets. This can be a very reset point when I'm going for.
Is there a preferred weapon you're going for?
The best weapon I've found is a fist or sword. I don't actually know which one's the best, but we have a gun.
Can you take any weapon, or is it one that Rosalind or Adele specialize with?
It can be fist, spear, gun, staff, and sword. Those are the ones I found that actually work. So here we have this level 100 character. I just finished the tutorial. Use poison. And the game over requirements. What causes a game over is you lose 10 characters or every character you have from the base panel. So if I just have one character out per turn, then I have 10 turns, but that's more turns than it takes to kill a single enemy with poison. And as strong as this sounds, it doesn't work for every single map because there are plenty of enemies on these maps. So, just end turn, and she dies of poison. I don't get anything for killing her except for what's on the very top of that bonus list. Just a tutorial about the Dark World. They're kind of maps that work off of the other maps. So, like, on every single map, you have to do some kind of thing to unlock the Dark World version, and it's much more difficult. And that's important because there's a certain map that we want to go to the Dark World in. So Rosalind here is the other main character of this game. I typically don't use her for the rest of this. In fact, that's not a lot of damage. Hopefully this will work.
I was going to say, for a Dark World map, you've got a pretty weak gun.
Yeah. I think the, I could take the symbol I took off of Rosalind. Yeah, that should do something. Usually I do like 200 damage. Push comes to shove, I can do something about that. So, after each map, I have to go heal. The story to this game is fairly simple. It's like Adele and his family has been cursed with being a demon. Well, Adele himself hasn't been cursed, and
But we don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know why he wasn't cursed until the end.
Mm-hmm.
Plot twist.
Yeah, this is kind of odd that his damage is really low. But yeah, I have animations turned off, and on the PSP version of the game, every single animation is a fist. So, I guess if there's a donation, we can get that read.
Yeah, we have $20 from TurboDog702.
Hey.
Hi Pink, is $20 enough to make Bunny and have Bunny die? Hope to see you at another event. And there's also $15 from Adanix. Happy to see one of my favorite JRPGs being played. Underrated series for sure. Are we going to see a level 9999 Nekomata?
Not really. It's really expensive to do, and that's post-game stuff. And besides, by the time I get to that map, I've already got other things in store, so.
And we also got $4 from Disgaea for Fighter. Hey Pajamas, do you know what time it is? Shoutouts to my boys Pajamas and their. Hope you're having fun bubble balling it up in Sweden. Hope to see at least one character named Bunny, or it's not a PPJ speedrun. PPJ? P.S. If Pajamas can guess who this is, I'll donate again.
It's time to bust some balls, and I think that's from Ghost King.
So Pink, can you guess who this guy for Fighter is? He's going to donate again if you want, if you know.
Ghost King?
Maybe. I know, no idea myself. But yeah.
I am kind of nervous about Rosalind's damage, so I guess I'll save. I'll just keep going, see what happens. I need this. Typically, I use Adele for whoever has a weapon. So, I'm not exactly used to using Rosalind, but I've done it before. So I know how it works. So, counterattacks. Each character has this counterattack stat that works off of regular attacks. So here I'm going to be using a special attack that has a pretty nice AoE. That's the advantage of using Rosalind, is that Rose Thorns early on. So I'm just using Adele to get everyone to work. So could you explain the kind of colored panels down there?
So in Disgaea, you get these colored panels called geo panels, and they will produce an effect depending on the geo symbol that's stacked on it. So you can see near the base panel, there's a symbol which is affecting all the green panels, giving it an effect. So I think the one on the, so this is a defense plus panel. So if you stick Adele on that panel, he'll take less damage from the enemies, which is what Pajamas is doing to kind of crowd them together so we can hit him with a Rosalind special. Because Rosalind is slightly stronger, although not as strong as I think we want her to be.
Yeah.
In Disgaea 1, they didn't really use geo panels as much as they did in the sequels. In the sequels, the maps are more kind of puzzle-based than they were in the previous game.
Yeah, so the weapon that I got off of the bonus gauge from the Dark Worlder is usually what I do to get past the first 3 chapters. Like, that's just my form of damage. And once we finish up the first 3 chapters, then we can do some very special things with the Dark World, because we can unlock a map that is associated with one of the maps at the very end of chapter 3. So I'm using special moves, which just tend to do more damage than anything else. Currently, it's just a gun special that Rosalind has, and the way you get moves in this game are typically from just using attacks more and more often. Though in the case of Rosalind and Adele, they get more attacks based off of they get some unique attacks to that character. So Rosalind got Rose Thorns, and she'll get 2 more special moves. Another one of those special moves is actually pretty important. Here we can see lifting and throwing in action. You'll be seeing quite a bit of that, lifting and throwing. So right now I'm just trying to get these thieves in a spot that I can actually get attacks on them. Also right now I am holding the circle button on my controller, which makes the cursor go quite a bit faster. And it's not the easiest thing to control. So I brought those 3 characters to those 3 positions to get them all to line up, and I can hit them with AoE. So normally if I had a sword, what I could do is I could use the skill Blade Rush, which is a 3x1 AoE, but it works a little differently. This is still pretty much the same effect. Let's recover some MP here so I can use one more time. I can also lift my own characters so that they stay safe for a turn from damage. They won't get targeted. The early parts of this game are kind of simple, and I'm kind of just making things up on the fly. Like, it is random which weapon you get, and I just kind of have to work with what I get. I don't want to always rely on just getting the same weapon every time. And again, I don't know which one is faster between Sword or Fist. So I see there's a donation. You can go ahead and get that read.
Yeah, let's get on. We got we got the donation from Ghost King. If I didn't make it obvious enough. Good luck on the run, my man. Rosa Glance PS. One day we will see Nocturne in a marathon, and chat will be nothing but featuring Devil May Cry from the Dante series. And we also got a big $500 donation from Carl the Wimp. Waking up in the middle of the night so I can watch PinkPajamas. One of my favorite runners running a game from one of my favorite series. Thanks a lot for that big donation.
Thank you. Yeah, with the weapon Rosalind has, I'm kind of nervous, so I'm saving a little more often than I normally would, but it's a marathon run, so it's kind of to be expected. So, what happens when you destroy symbols on geopanels is that it changes to the color of the panel you destroyed, and it can chain if there's another color that can be destroyed alongside that. And then there's the null panel, where if all of the panels get removed during one of the combos, then you see this explosion go off, which does damage to each enemy. And I do that so that there's only 2 enemies left on this map. So that's just kind of a look into how, sort of a explanation of how the panels and symbols work. And as we alluded to before, each of the symbols have different effects. So I think some of those were enemy boost or something, I don't know. It's just faster to get rid of the panels no matter what.
Usually all the panels on the stage will only be beneficial to the enemies, usually. So it's usually much easier to cheese the level by lift and throwing towards the panels and destroying them. And that also does a lot of damage to the enemies as well, which is really useful.
I'm going to get some health restoration items just for backup. That should be enough. So here's chapter 3, where things start to get a little difficult. Where things probably are not going to die in one hit. That was very close. Now I'm going to move Adele here to get the other 2 to move in the same spot. Let me think about this for a second. On this map, every turn the panels are increasing because of the encroach effect, and each turn I'm on one of those panels, I will actually take damage every turn. So I'm sort of on a time limit in a way on this map. So I did a strategy that was sword specific there, thinking I could use the panels, but AoE, but I couldn't. Should work out. Let's see. This. Sorry if I'm not commentating too much. I'm not used to using Rosalind that much. It's a very low chance. Out of the weapons that are acceptable, the only one where I can use Rosalind is the gun, versus the other weapons that I have that are possible. So this next map, there are a lot of moths, and they use attacks that have poison associated with them. And if you saw before how powerful poison was, that's why this map is really quite dangerous. Fortunately, they can actually damage themselves since the attack is an AoE. So that's one way to get rid of the enemies there. I'm just gonna stay a little safe here.
So if you lift an enemy, they can't do anything the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you take damage equal to the enemy's like half the enemy's HP, I think it is. So it's a super safe strat. If you have an enemy you can't kill, that's going to do damage to one of your main characters, you can just lift the character with one of your throwaway characters.
Yeah, having a lot of throwaway characters is really, really useful because I'm not going to be using a whole lot of characters for strict damage. So having this lift and throw mechanic really adds a whole lot of characters, and usually with strategy RPGs you have like a few characters for damage and that's all you're using. Whereas in this case I'm using a lot of my other level 1 characters for actual value, which makes things a little more interesting. And the Disgaea series in a whole, like in the speedrun context, has a lot of that going on, which does make it quite interesting. Also, there are symbols on this map, but they aren't really relevant. It's just like extra money, experience, and mana, which we might get into. We'll get into a little later what mana is. So this is the very last map I'm going to, well, the last real map I'm going to do with just kind of soloing it out. Throslin, and this is the map I need to do the Dark World on. And the requirement for unlocking the Dark World is to make a tower of 5. So that's what I'll do. You can lift characters that are already lifting characters and just make a tower. So I need that message because I will be farming off of the Dark World version of this map. Since I have to make a tower and that guy's hard to kill, I'll just poison him. There they all go. Let's play a little safe here. I think they're gonna come towards me. Oh, just one. Okay. Yeah, this map, there's no real way to optimize this map. I've tried and I couldn't think of anything. A lot of the maps that we'll be seeing in the future are really quite optimized, or have a lot of optimizations in them. So we'll see those go pretty fast, but here I have to actually kind of come up on the spot.
This map is kind of spread out with the enemies, which makes it kind of tedious to take them all out one by one.
And they all also use this X-shaped AoE, which is really difficult to kind of work around. In fact, on the Disgaea 1 speedrun that I've done before, the X-shaped AoE is really, really, really powerful. I know you've done a couple runs of that.
Yeah. I don't know this speedrun very well, but this game's got quite a lot of quality of life changes to it that made it much better to speedrun, I think. Like
Cutscene
half
skipping.
the speed, yeah. All cutscene skips in this game.
Yeah, whenever you hear that little kind of sound effect whenever I'm going between chapters, it's me skipping cutscene. so I'm getting really confused with
The map perspective means
perspectives.
you can't tell where he is, which is quite annoying. Your Guy Blast is quite strong and it's got a really far-reaching effect as well, so
Yeah.
it's really useful for sniping enemies, but
Alright, so now we are entering the item world. The kind of the very random part of the game. It's literally randomly generated. Fortunately, it's not too difficult to do in this game.
this is basically the item world introduction, where it tells you to go to, it forces you to get a felony on a character, which is considered a good thing in this game, by going to level 4. And you got some really bad luck with how far away the exit is.
I'm actually going to take a reroll on this one. The thing is I need to capture a monster here, and this is the best place to actually do a capture because I need to capture a monster that I've already beaten. And every single map from here on just shows a new monster. And there's a restriction on how high of a level of a monster you can capture, which is Adele's level. And since I'm using Rosalind for the very beginning, and Adele is level 4, I don't have very many options. And the levels of enemies increases every single map, so by using Rosalind, I don't have very many options. So that's why I did that. So I got my capture. It was a very good idea to do that reroll. That was a very good decision.
Tink's very useful for the item world because he's a flying type monster, which means you can pass straight through enemies. So even if the escape panel is surrounded by enemies, you can just walk straight through them and exit the level.
Yeah. This is a known place to actually grind and get actual items, but I really only need to go through just as little as possible. Besides, all these enemies are actually really low leveled, so they'll make very good. They won't be very good for me. Alright.
So Tink is perfect here because he can just move through those enemies.
Oh, also, throwing in this game. The intended way to throw is just in a straight line. So you have the 4 cardinal directions, but if you actually just confirm the throw as you're going in between the cardinal directions, you can just throw diagonally. So it's a bit tricky in that you need to time it correctly, but with a little bit of practice, it's pretty easy. So that felony that Tink had. Controller? Oh, that's the exit panel. I thought my controller was not working. But yeah, you can exit the item world. Usually you have to go through 10 floors to get through the item world. But in this game, you just have to go through the first 4. And in this map, you meet a demon lord from one of the previous games. Let's get some. I need you thrown over. There we go. And you can't really beat here. Like, look at those stats. So the fastest way to actually game over, instead of bringing 10 characters outside, is to actually try and capture her. And that obviously doesn't work, but that just means I only have 2 characters left. And they're dead. So you actually get a special ending if you do actually beat her. But that's not what we're going to be doing. Okay. I guess I don't really need to equip the... I'm getting confused on my menus. There we go. So I need to, because I captured a monster, I need to pass the bills. You want to explain what the Dark Assembly is?
So the Dark Assembly is where you can unlock different things throughout the game. You need to have eyes plus the...
No, that's just Disgaea when you just need to have more eyes than
Oh, okay.
names in this one.
So, yeah. The senators just vote on your petition to see if it passes or not and whether you unlock it. You can bribe them because this game is kind of promotes evil as being a good thing, so you can bribe all the senators. But I guess it's just not fast. It's completely RNG on most bills, if they're like 50%.
Yep.
So as soon as you pass it, you can make some trainers, which are really good.
Yeah, normally these tamers are really good with monsters, but we really won't be using monsters. The thing we're going to be using tamers for is the fact that they increase the bonus gauge faster than any other character. So we're gonna get a few, just a couple tamers.
Beast tamers also have a really good base move and throw, which is good as
Yes.
well. Makes them good.
5/5 is really good.
Yeah, makes them really good throwaway characters. Max throw is 6, but that character can only move 3 spaces, so...
And just because I can.
Bunny.
Funny. Someone said that it had to be done. I didn't have any name donation incentives, just because I don't need to reincarnate Rosalind.
The characters you can name in this game are only the ones you create, and they're not really used for the speedrun, so they just get thrown away. It's also faster to name them one letter as well.
Or just the default, let them name it themselves.
Yeah.
Just don't give them a name, that's why they have. Each have separate names. So let's make sure I got this right. Okay. And I have everything I need. Okay. So for sure I actually need to save here, even if I was to do attempts. And this is actually where I want my my notes. Well, mostly for the second one. But so here's the post-game map. There is a level 500 zombie here that I need to have beaten. But first I need to check the bonus gauge for a gun. It's possible to do without a gun, but there's a lot of advantages to having a gun on the first time I do this. At best, I do this 2 times, but I may end up doing it 3 times if I'm just kind of sick of resetting. That's actually really good. So each of those items on the bonus gauge, most of them I'm going to be selling for money. And it will add up to more money than I will get in the entire run, usually about 10 times as much than I will be getting the rest of the entire run. So I'm going to be doing a specific setup here with these tamers that I got. And get the zombie stuck on the island. And then just set up a combo and do a total of 0 damage. The important part is that I increase my bonus gauge. So this is just, so you can see that bonus gauge just increasing. The higher it is, it maxes out at 9. And once it hits 9, I get everything off of the bonus gauge. That's kind of how the bonus gauge works. And the higher combo you have queued up, the more you can get in terms of bonus. And with the tamers, increasing bonus gauge the highest. It fills up pretty quickly. Normally it takes quite a while to actually get the bonus gauge all the way up if you don't use geo symbols. But this will fill up completely in 5 turns. So I'm just gonna The zombie isn't poisoned anymore, but I still need to get one more turn of getting the bonus gauge filled up. So there's something very specific I'm going to do. I'm going to throw a thief to get it poisoned, but I'm going to kill that thief. And the reason for that is because zombies, whenever they use a normal attack and kill a character, they recover all of their HP. And that's bad. So what I will be doing is having Rosalind here kill the thief, kill my own thief, so that doesn't happen. And then on the very last turn, I will bring out Adele, who I want to have experience, and my healer. I want my healer to gain experience because she has buffs.
The only reason we're getting experience from this map is because the bonus gauge can also contain experience.
There was one slot there that had experience.
Yeah, I think it's like plus 75,000, which at this stage in the game is massive. Now, this map is way beyond what you should be able to do casually, but yeah, plus 100,000 experience.
100,000 right
so
there.
these characters are actually going to be pretty strong now.
Yeah, 32 levels just off of that.
So that's incredibly overpowered for this stage in the game.
And that gun that I got off of the bonus gauge, I want to equip. And that allows us to do something else. That allows us to do this map a little differently. So I'm going to actually look at my notes real quick so I can estimate how much money there is on the bonus gauge. I already kind of have a good idea because of a lot of the other ones. Let's see. Okay, I think I got that. That's quite a bit of money. There's no extra experience on the bonus gauge, so that means Adele is going to be kind of weak. But I can deal with that. So a lot of the rest of the run is kind of dictated on what actually appears on the bonus gauge. And it makes like little things here and there easier or more difficult. So once I'm done with this farming section or grind or however you want to call it, we can continue on with the game and we're going to be really quite powerful. Like this kind of thing just pretty much breaks the game. Because just of how strong of weapons and just the levels we'll get as well. The most important thing with the levels is that Rosalind becomes level 50 because once she is level 50, she learns a skill called Rose Liberation, which is pretty much an all-around AoE skill that is really good. It has 5 panels and it has pretty good range. It's just overall very useful. It's not the strongest attack that you can have, but it's the fact that you can kill multiple enemies at once really makes a difference.
Later on in the game, there's also enemies which can only be killed by magic. Rose Liberation counts as a magic attack, but uses Rosalind's gun attack effectively. So you can kind of make your physical user kill the magic damage-only enemies, which is really useful.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I kind of forgot to mention is that each of the weapon types in this game have separate stats that affect damage. So in the case of guns, the hit or accuracy stat affects damage, which is really quite nice because if you're doing damage with the gun, you'll just never miss. So one thing I did there is I actually healed the zombie for 50 health because poison does 20% damage rounded up. So by healing the zombie just a little bit, that'll mean that he'll survive with just a very small amount of health. Just to make sure I have the 2 skills I need. Yep. So now I'm going to be doing a large combo here, ending with Rosalind. The further you are in the combo, the higher accuracy and damage you will deal. And because the zombie has less than 50 health, having a gun means that Rosalind actually kills the zombie and gets stuff from that, and I got 1 million hell or currency just off of killing that zombie. Now, just to make sure, I'm actually going to sell everything that I got off the bonus gauge. You can see how high level these things are. Yeah, this is enough money. And I'm actually going to buy back something. Let's see, what should I work with? I guess this will do. And then I'm going to sell it again. What I basically did there was buy 1 million hell of items. But the thing is, whenever you sell something, you can buy it back again. So by doing that, I effectively bought 1 million of things, so that increased
Increases your customer rank, so you can
yeah.
basically in this game, you can ask the Senate to increase the amount of expensive things in the shop, but you can only do this if you've already used the shop a lot to get it to the next level. So by doing that, effectively in one purchase, he's boosted at 9 levels, which means he can buy items now that are way past his current level with the money he's just found.
I might have to do that pretty early because I didn't find a good weapon for Adele off of the bonus gauge. He's pretty much just doing damage off of the attack he gets off of his own levels. Okay, Rose Liberation, there it is. I'm also rearranging my, yeah, see, that guy didn't die, so I'm going to have to do that pretty soon. Rosalind has the mana to work with, so that's not much of a problem. Yeah, that should kill. Normally I do it much later because of how the mana works. Mana is really what is used to actually pass those bills, so I guess I'm just going to do that right now. Yeah, usually I do it much later, but I'm going to have to do it now, which is actually perfectly fine. So this is the part of the game that I can do entirely with one hand. It's also sometimes random that whether or not I get it. I can bribe them to increase the chances, but it's not worth it. It takes time to actually menu each little thing to see what they want that you have. So it's just easiest to go for it all the time. And once I'm done passing all of these, all these bills, I'm also going to pass the eyewear bill, which will let me buy things. Let me buy eyewear, which increases accuracy. It's the only item that I can put on the accessory slots that strictly increases damage and has no other bad effects. Like belts you can get, which will increase attack, but also decrease defense, and that's not what I want. I want Adele to have defense. By the way, this is how the Senate works in real life, right? this is an accurate depiction.
They accept bribes all the time.
And it's completely random what.
Completely random what they vote for.
Even if you do bribe them. So in a little bit, I'm going to do. So I need to pass this 9 times just so I can buy the most expensive eyewear build that I can. So this will be the last one if I can do it. And while I'm here, I'm going to do the eyewear bill.
Yeah, you got plenty of mana to pass this.
Well, I guess we do end up seeing legendary senators, so this is pretty much the only kind of senators in this run that are worth bribing.
They've got the most voting power and it has like a special effect on the assembly, so they can swing the whole thing. Most of the stuff is just junk, so if they want it, just give it to them.
Yeah, the entirety of my inventory is literally junk. So I'm making sure she does it.
That doesn't mean she will, but hopefully she will.
It's actually pretty uncommon to see a legendary senator.
So that swung it the right way, which is good.
That's all the bills that I need. So with all of that money, most of that goes into buying Foresight for Rosalind. Just 3 pairs, and that's 9 million right there. And then the main reason why I did this early on was to actually get a weapon for Adele. Hopefully I can get something better than that.
It's random what appears in the shop, so reloading the shop will make different items appear.
I guess that will do. And let's get some armor for Adele. Give him a dress. And I suppose some eyewear. There we go. Now he should be dealing some decent damage. So a lot of the rest of these maps are going to be kind of optimizations in a way. So I have very specific things that I am doing. Also, you can see I'm kind of doing it in 2 ways at once. And I'm staying a certain distance away from the enemies so they don't actually move. I don't want them to move because they're in very convenient positions for these AoE attacks that they have. Spring Fire that Adele has and Rose Liberation. Those are the main attacks that are in this game in this run for these characters. And it's specifically for those characters. In terms of the weapons, I have Rosalind with a gun. Like, even if I wasn't using the 2 main characters of the run, I would ideally want a gunner and someone who has a fist. Someone who has a fist because they have a high counterattack chance, which you'll see right here. So I can just move them in a spot and have them counterattack quite frequently. And then someone with a gun so that they both have high accuracy and I can use the glasses for damage. So that's why I'm using Adele only for this map, because you can counterattack all the time. So for this map, I actually need to throw someone across on the other side. You normally have to, you can normally attack the symbol there, but just throwing it is a little faster.
If we attack the symbol, it'll explode and cause a chain reaction, which just wastes time when you can just throw it off.
And then you have Axel, the Dark Hero, there as the boss of this map. You can see him right there. We saw him earlier, and
You've seen him twice, actually, at this point. This is the third time.
oh yeah, this is the third time.
These are usually quite challenging maps, just because of the way the level's laid out with the geo panels. But with so of a level, you can usually ignore the negative effects that are working against us.
There's a chance. Okay. So the thief just used the steal health on me, which means I'm poisoned. So given a few more turns, I will actually take a lot of damage, but 14 over 1,000 HP isn't really that much. And as easy as this looks, soon enough, the game won't actually be easy, and it'll actually get difficult again because I'm not really going to be getting significantly stronger, because the bonuses and the EXP that I gain off of these maps is pretty minuscule. Also, one minor thing is I actually changed Adele's facing there because I want him to avoid this one attack, that one right there, because there's a chance that he can get stunned and not move. So having him face the ghost just makes it more likely. It's a lot of these little things that make this speed run quite a bit interesting, in my opinion. Couple of the, alongside the fact that I have to be constantly holding a button for fast cursor movement, also makes things a bit tricky. And that went pretty smoothly. You don't actually get healed after every single map. You have to go out and heal, which takes a few seconds. So if I know I don't need to do that, I won't. Just saves a little bit of time. That's what all these little optimizations are.
Usually the only reason you'll back out is to get your SP back quickly. Because most of the enemies at this point will die in one hit with the right attack. But our SP is not infinite, so...
Also, here's an example of the bonus gauge actually affecting things on this run. If I had a lot of experience on the bonus gauge, Adele would be level 50, and I could use his level 50 attack on Axel right there to kill him, which would save a little bit of time, because they wouldn't the dogs there wouldn't attack him, although it's very odd that they didn't even attack Axel at all. I don't know if that has actually happened before.
That was still pretty good, because at least they surrounded Rosalind.
Yeah, that was really good because they surrounded Rosalind. Yeah, so you saw me heal there. That was pretty much exclusively to recover SP, because something like Rose Liberation is actually quite costly.
The more you use an attack, you level up as well, which means it does more damage, but it also costs more SP, so the cost only gets higher as you go through the run.
So I have to manage that as well. And considering my level is kind of random, alongside some of my equipment also randomly increasing SP, I have to keep an eye on that as well. So there are a lot of little things going on here that I have to keep track of. And a lot of different strategies I have to come up with, depending on what happens. Like, it's possible that Adele doesn't actually counterattack because they'll use a special move instead of a regular attack. So I have to do something different there. Like right here, I have a free attack with Adele, so I can get that in. So every single turn, I just have to look at the sort of positions that everything is in. Like, I've never had this position before, so I just needed to adapt accordingly. So normally this is the time where I'd be passing the bills, but I already passed those bills. So I guess we could get back into some of the story, like, or into the story at all. So Adele's mother had summoned the Overlord Xenon, and Rosalind came out, which was not really the Overlord, the character person they were looking for.
It's assumed it was a botched summon somehow.
Mm-hmm. So this entire time, they've just been looking for Overlord Xenon. Like, he's supposed to be the most powerful, and he's the one that has put the curse on all the humans. So the reason why we're in an arena right now is because the winner of the arena gets to fight Overlord Xenon, or meet with Overlord Xenon. And here is considered a very annoying map. You see all of these different panels, and each panel has a different effect that really screws with things. Like, the purple panels are no entry, and there's silence and all this. So you have to go all the way around here and hit this red panel. That's the intended solution, but with diagonal throwing, you can actually cut a corner here. You can also attack that with magic, but as I've said before, magic is actually slow because enemies can be randomly resistant, and you can't really get a specific item from the shop that will increase magic damage very well. Like, eyewear does it, but not that well. So this is the longest break in the run. We get to see Geo panels get comboed off.
This will fill the bonus gauge, but it's probably more than likely got nothing in it. That's that great.
It has nothing I want in it. It'll just be junk.
Compared to what we got, it's, yeah, too low level.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to do a lot of damage on the enemies here, which is quite nice.
Yeah, sometimes the tamers can just defeat them even with the weakest of
Bows.
equipment. Yeah, bows and guns, which they're not really proficient with. That's okay. So sometimes the tamers will actually do a counterattack and kill. I guess they didn't there. Goodbye. Let's try and get a counterattack going. Or just regular attack. Let's see if that'll do kill. Nope. I really didn't get that much experience off of the bonus gauge grind, if you will. There's a kill. This is like one of the only maps that a tamer will ever get a kill in. So the difference between the Soaring Fire and Rose Liberation in terms of like where you can place them. You can place Rose Liberation anywhere. However, Soaring Fire is always in the same position relative to Adele. You can face Adele in 4 different directions. But the reason why that's actually kind of relevant is because I don't have to actually move my cursor over for an attack like Soaring Fire. But with Rose of Liberation, I do, so that actually does take time as well. And in terms of optimizations, that does make a difference. And there's a map coming up where I would have to put my cursor for Rose of Liberation is in a spot where the height restrictions will make it so I can't actually attack the enemies. So I have to use Soaring Fire. So even though it is somewhat restricted in a way, there are still advantages to using an attack like Soaring Fire over Rose of Liberation.
Soaring Fire is also a fire element attack as well, which means based on the enemy resistances, you can do a lot more damage with it.
Or a lot less.
Or a lot less if you're unlucky.
Which I will probably be pretty annoyed at quite a few times in this run that I didn't get lucky or I got unlucky with damage. I'll be like, they resist. Also, I really should not have healed here.
So another cheap win here.
Boom, boom. That Black Prinny is actually called Bowling Ball. I don't know how they got this far in the tournament. It's a mystery for the ages.
Good thing AI can't throw.
So on the way to the arena, we saw someone else called Yukimaru, and we got along pretty well, even though we were entering the same tournament. So, but this is kind of outside of the tournament that she attacked us, and we're a bit confused, but it's fine. We just attack with Rosalind. So, yeah, we won't actually. We're a bit confused as to why Yukimaru attacked us, but it's like, whatever. Once we got rid of her, she ran away. This is the wrong direction. I need Rosalind to the right.
So these are the not Power Rangers. Called the Prism Rangers.
And you can actually see me use the panels to my advantage. Like the green panel there was a bonus to attack. And without that, there's a chance that Adele can't actually kill them. And the reason why I have Rosalind to the right side here is because this yellow guy has a lot of health. So I use my glass cannon with Rosalind to actually deal damage. Wow, that's what I refer as having a bad Adele, because my Adele is actually pretty low level. He's not doing a whole lot of damage, and there are a number of times where I'll spend an extra turn killing an enemy because I have a bad Adele, and that really makes a difference in terms of time in the run. Rosalind is always going to be good because if she isn't good, this run is like not possible to complete, since that's your main source of real damage. Adele's there to just kind of smooth things out, because going purely glass cannon is not going to work out very well. I always get really confused in terms of what appears on the top of the list when I try and lift. That's the spot I want Adele in. Let's get this guy. And here's the stage that we fight Yukimaru legit in. And she doesn't know what we're talking about when we said that she attacked us last night, so. But we're just gonna fight her fair and square here. Even though we have a lot of other guys with us. It's fine though. And now for the final battle of the arena, we see Axel again.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately, yeah. So I'm going to do another pretty cool optimization here. I'm going to have a really low level character in that specific position. So the archer on the left is going to attack that mage there. And that gets him stuck in that position. So it lets me attack the archer and the gunner at the same time with Adele. And again, I couldn't actually hit both of those guys with Rosalind because I would have to select the panel on the in the pit, and that would include height restrictions, which would not allow me to attack. And with the character I used to throw Rosalind, I kept the other archer in place, so I could do the same thing. So there are a lot of these kind of cool optimizations that, even though I'm kind of overpowered at this point for what I'm supposed to be doing, what they expect me to be, sort of. I mean, you can play this game by grinding a lot really early, and that's perfectly acceptable in the eyes of the creators.
Disgaea is kind of infamous for its amount of grinding, which is something you can do, but it's not that necessary for the story if you know how to play well.
There's one little thing I wanted to do. If I had an extra move on Adele, I know I saw slippers on the bonus gauge to increase Adele's movement, to increase movement by 1. No, the other guy.
I think you did already win slippers from another bonus gauge.
Yeah, it wasn't in my bag though. It's in my warehouse. So you have items in your item bag and the warehouse. The items in the item bag are the only things you can use in battle, whereas in your warehouse you can have a lot more items, but you can't actually use them in battle. So consumables like healing items you have to have in your item bag to have actual use out of them. And you can actually change equipment in the middle of a map if it's in your item bag. So there's this dragon up here, and I have to kill this. I pretty much have to kill this dragon with Rosalind because there are 3 enemy types that have, or that are immune to each of the 3 elements. Dragons are immune to fire, and there's one that's immune to wind, and another that's immune to
Ice.
ice. Yeah. So Adele with his fire. It's actually down here. I'm gonna do a bit of menuing here. Actually, holy dress is SP. Yeah, this is fine. What do I need? I need tough guy. So here's a kind of a subtle thing here. So once I had completed that chapter, Yukimaru joined, and to pass this bill, tough guy. Having one of these actually saves 2 minutes on a single map. So usually it saves time to do.
If you can get lucky with the Senate.
And it saves like small amount of time on other maps. So it's pretty much always worth getting one of these guys. But to get this guy, you need to have a level 5 in spears. And if you've noticed, I have not used a single spear attack in the entire run. I'd actually make the guy. That's because Yukimaru actually comes with level 5 spears. Very conveniently. So that's how I'm able to make them there. What else do I need to do? Alright. Rosalind. So I'm going to reincarnate Rosalind, get her all the way back to level 1 from, I don't know, level 60, 70-ish. Okay. Can you explain reincarnation for a little bit?
So a kind of advanced mechanic of this game is reincarnation. You basically store the current levels you've got on a character and reset them back to level 1, but in return you eventually accumulate extra points you can put into your character's base stats. So over time it will make your character a lot stronger.
And it turns out it doesn't actually make her that much stronger, but towards the end, is the time that you actually get kind of dividends on reincarnating, and that actually makes a difference. It saves a few minutes to be able to one-shot everything once you get towards the very end. So now we have Rosalind here at level 1. She's level 18. So let's lift her to keep her alive for this turn. Dang, I have to throw the tamer. Get her there and recover her SP so I can actually use Rose Liberation again.
As she's level 1, she had almost no SP, so...
So now that we've seen Overlord Xenon, we actually need to escape because Xenon is Rosalind's daughter, and he didn't actually want to see Rosalind, so he just...
For reasons we don't yet know.
Yeah, for reasons we don't yet know. Right. Anyway, these panels are evade panels, which is really annoying. There's a 50% chance that I even get a hit on these panels. So it's kind of annoying to deal with. And I just have to go for it. Although what I can do is Adele has an attack called Triple Strike, which will move them. Which is an attack that will move an enemy a single panel. And it's kind of nice to just get them off the panel really quickly.
I'll be back in just a second.
All right. These panels are silenced, so I only have regular attacks, which is actually pretty convenient with Adele here because all of these guys will do attacks that can be countered by Adele. And they end up leveling up every turn, but that doesn't really matter that much. So we get to see a manly fight here. Attacking with our fists. And Adele really isn't taking damage. For two reasons. These guys are actually pretty low level because they're supposed to level up every turn and eventually become extremely powerful. Which is why you have to play it fast, in a way, and that's the way to play it fast, is to just counterattack everything. Ooh. That's unusual. Usually that guy dies. I have a pretty bad Adele. That's some. I'm pretty sure that Ghost, yeah. He resists fire, so that's an example of RNG not working in my favor. So this map is normally kind of difficult because the red panels here has the attack plus 1 effect, meaning that they'll attack twice per turn. So what I'm going to be doing is getting Rosalind all the way to the end of the map here to get rid of the archers that will actually do damage. I don't care about the healers at the moment. And I have a bad Adele, so yeah. I kind of expected that to happen for one of the archers to survive. Can change quite a bit, run to run. So you can see them attacking twice. Because of that, they get a higher combo. Let's actually check. Sure, I'll take one of these out. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Actually, I kind of don't want to be on that panel. Yeah, normally I would complete this map by this turn, but Adele's not doing so great. Let's see if he can even kill this guy. Yep. Well, not. Or so.
Lucky counter.
Alright, so we finally escaped. And so we have the idea to summon the strongest overlord. So to do that, we need to find Etna, the character that we saw before that we intentionally died to. This panel. So that's what we're doing right now in the story.
Some of these fist moves have really good height ranges. So luckily Adele can hit that guy on the roof.
And the normal attack of guns also has a pretty good range too, like depending on how far you are away. So you'll see me use that quite a bit. That was pretty unlucky. No counterattack. So I can't get Rosalind just out there immediately because she'll die. I kind of want to get Adele and Rosalind in there at the same time. Wow. Come on, Adele. Step it up. Where's this guy going? Actually, that's pretty good. Something you'll see me do is actually scroll entire pages on my character list because I have so many characters. And I know the general area of where a lot of my characters are. I've got like over 20, I think, characters to work with. A lot of them are for throwing. So I just know where to go on the menu to do that. I know how many page ups, page downs, and I also get a bunch of story characters on the very bottom of the menu. So there's a lot of that going on. Makes it kind of convenient, but also kind of fun to do menus at the same time just because of that. That map there is like a grind map that they give you because those panels like give extra experience and money, but
It's not worth it to hang around.
Yeah,
The equipment
not
is
worth it.
doing most of the work, so
Yeah, the levels I really only needed for like HP and SP and some of the skills. So here's something kind of cool that I figured out the other day. Oh yeah, this will work. So Adele has a skill unique to him called Crimson Flame. And that actually allows me to punch through a gate. The attack normally just pushes himself forward as he attacks. It's actually kind of difficult to use because there are very specific panels that need to be open. So on average, I found out that this new strat here actually saves a little bit of time just because you have two characters going to completely different areas. And there's no good way to actually have a camera here to see what's going on, unfortunately. Because I'm going two different ways at the same time. Probably should even move the Frozlin. Yeah, I'll kill him with Frozlin. There we go. So Etna is known for her Prinny squad, and once we finally get to Etna, we see the Prinnies, and Prinnies, they explode when thrown. Which makes things really convenient for this map.
this map I remember being quite annoying because all those red and blue panels on the outside are clone panels, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't get to the end straight away and kill those guys on top, then you just have infinitely spawning enemies.
Yeah, and it's completely random where they end up spawning to. That's why I have this setup right here in specific. So none of the Prinnies end up on either a blue or red panel. So we...
In the cutscene we didn't see, we got the item we need from Edna that lets us summon the strongest Overlord.
But she gave us a fake nail, and
It backfires on her.
yeah, we end up summoning her at level 1. So she ends up having us... she ends up tagging along, trying to get her levels back. This map is really annoying. Those red panels are no entry.
No entry panels are pretty strong in this game in general. If you could ignore them at any point, like you did back there with the soaring fire attack, it's really helpful. This map in particular is really bad for just along for the sake of it.
Yeah, because there are these holes that you have to cross, and the only way to cross them is by throwing.
Of course, all these enemies have AoE ranged attacks that can hit you from across these panels.
And there you actually see the healer in action, and Adele still didn't kill the cockatrice, or as I like to call them, chickens.
It doesn't help, most of these enemies are pretty spread apart as well, so you have to kind of snipe them one by one.
Yeah, they're just in awkward positions in general.
Do you go for the no entry panel on this map, or are you just... By the time you get there, you've almost finished all the enemies anyway.
I still have to get to it. Well, unless that happens. I keep it down in that position just in case this guy moves, because I can use the Crimson Flame trick again to just punch through a no entry panel. So normally I would get Roslyn all the way to the symbol over there. But Adele managed to punch his way through no entry. So that's not really necessary. And there we go. That was actually pretty good. Mainly because I was able to get Adele through that panel. Oops. So here's some fun effects. Evade, Warp, and Death Blow. Evade meaning there's only a 50% chance of actually being able to hit. Warp meaning... Okay. Okay. So yeah, everything is going to be completely randomly placed because it's warp, and death blow means that anything that hits dies immediately. But fortunately, they're all pernies, so you can just throw them. So I just kind of have to work with what I get. Okay, we can pause.
This is not part of the run, by the way. Not yet.
I don't see any. No signal.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Are we good to go again? Okay. Okay. I'm not
Not
seeing
yet.
anything right now.
There you go. It's back. Yep. We good? All right.
All right. I guess we can continue. In 3, 2, 1, go. So all the panels on here have no lifting, so with the Prinnies here, we can't really cheese them out. So I've got a very specific setup that I can utilize. Plus there's also the fusion effect, so every single turn, the Prinnies will combine and basically double their level. So I get Adele in that position, so that they get... Actually, that's fine. I am... Okay, I'm a bit... Normally Adele doesn't die to that, but I'll have to make some backup strategies here. Oh wait, no lifting.
No lifting? No lifting is pretty awful on maps when you're trying to speedrun them because it's by far the quickest way to move across any map.
Okay. So Rosalind just needs to not die here, which should be likely. Yeah.
Hey.
And it's random which Prinny gets fused into what, and usually Dell gets surrounded, which makes things a lot more convenient. So that wasn't the best of RNG. And this map is kind of dangerous because we're introduced to the Samurai, the scariest enemy class to deal with, because once they're at less than half health, there's a 20% chance that they will completely one-shot you. Like that guy can do right now, so... Wow, not even the boss died. So now I have to keep Adele and Rosalind lifted, because they can do some pretty bad things. Let's look for any... And having Adele with a pretty low level and low stats does not help here. So I have to come up with things on the fly.
Can they only death blow on a normal attack, or is it with special attacks as well?
I think it can be special attacks as well. But it's a 20% chance that it even happens. Nonetheless, it can be absolutely devastating if it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably getting unlucky with the resistances as well.
It's just Adela's bad. That's it. Adela's doing like 2/3 of the damage that he should be doing. Right now, I'm actually checking for resistances.
Neither of them have got a -50 fire.
Yeah. At this point, though, I can actually just risk death blow anyway, because if...
There's only one character left.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it anyway.
So now we're in like about chapter 10 or 11, somewhere around there. It kind of blurs at this point. I believe this is 10. Okay, so this is the map that I wanted the this heavy knight here, the tough guy. And the reason why I equipped a fist onto Yukimaru, even though she's proficient in swords. So normally you're supposed to go all the way around the entire map and get rid of the symbols while you're being attacked to finally get rid of the green effect so you can get rid of the healer in the very center. But since we have that tough guy and he can, he has the throw height to get someone up there, I can just join the healer. That's very low damage with Adele. Both of those guys resist fire on top of Adele being...
They just got healed as well.
Mm-hmm. So instead of getting attacked while going around, I can just do everything in the center, and that saves quite a bit of time. That was pretty good. Although usually there's a chance that Adele can actually kill those chickens, or kill anything that's even neutral. Both of those guys were weak to fire and didn't even kill. Okay, so here all of the symbols are at the very center. And there's a specific symbol I want to destroy, the attack +1, because the symbols will actually randomly move to different panels, meaning that every turn randomly one of the effects will have either silence or attack +1. And the attack +1 can actually kill Rosalind, because she's still a glass cannon. And these blue mages here are guaranteed to be weak to fire, so that's why I bring Adele over there. The rest is all Rosalind. Also, I forgot to do strat. I was supposed to move Rosalind down one panel so she wouldn't get attacked. Oh well. She evaded anyway, so it's fine. So now Rosalind is just out of range of those mages. And just in range of Rose Liberation, so now there's only one mage left to actually do damage. And it's just barely enough, so Rosalind doesn't die. So this map here, I'm going to immediately get rid of one of the symbols that's reverse damage. So damaging would actually heal and healing would actually damage. But I don't really have very much in terms of healing, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Also, if I had happened to time that diagonal throw correctly, I could have saved the turn, but I didn't. I still need to throw Adele anyway. Yeah, I could have just moved Adele after he attacked. So on top of having these AoE skills, this is actually a pretty simple map. You only need to attack once each direction, even though there are two enemies on each side. That's the advantage of having these skills like Soaring Fire and Rose Liberation. This map, since I'm playing on the PSP version of the game, you've got this kind of cropped off effect, which you don't normally notice in the game. But here's where you really notice, because I'm actually attacking enemies that are off screen. Because this game was originally a 4:3 ratio, but the PSP is 16:9. So all the things I'm attacking here have a really high distance. And the only attack I have that's this high a distance is regular attack from a gunner. So it's just kind of an odd map to see speedrun because I just know every single position that there are enemies just off the map. One, two, there we go. I guess one thing I could talk about is the how this guy is normally played casually. The post-game content in this game is what this series is most famous for. How you can just continually grind and grind as much as you would like, as long as to your heart's content. So speedrunning this is kind of a different experience than actually playing the game casually. In fact, I'm gonna save here.
What's your best time for this game? Any percent?
204.
204. It's crazy to think this game can be beaten in just over 2 hours, considering that even the first game is about 5 hours.
First game? My PB is 3.5.
Oh, okay, not just bad.
But yes, this is actually the fastest Disgaea game because of the whole Dark World thing. And this map is a real pain because there's a warp panel or a warp symbol and they will move randomly. And these dragons can also randomly have attack plus 50 or defense plus 50%. So every turn I need to stay as safe as possible.
All the dragons also have the immune to fire passive, so Adele's completely useless here basically. They're already quite tanky units as well.
This actually worked really well. The warp was actually to my advantage there. Sometimes that can take multiple minutes just to complete because I get warped in like the corner or the symbols can actually attack. Of course you would. Of course you would.
Is he resisting fire?
Yes, he is resisting fire. So
the flying dog enemies can only be damaged with elemental attacks. So worst case scenario is they're immune. Well, they have a resistance to fire because Rose Liberation is non-elemental.
Non-elemental special attacks. So the normal attack there I did with Adele still did damage. But yeah, that was the worst case scenario with that Holy Dragon. The Holy Dragons are really annoying to try and deal with because of that. Not only in the speedrun, but casually as well. You have to watch out for the Holy Dragons when you're going through the item world. Because of all of these immunities that some of these monster classes have, you can't go in with a single attack. You can't really go in with a single attack and just expect it to work all the time. This. So what I want them to do is actually attack, get close to the mage and attack it so that I can get good AoE panels to work with. Hit as many enemies as possible here. And that's exactly what happened. That's a pretty cool trick that you can do. Because the AI will always try to target characters that they can kill really easily. In fact, in Disgaea 1, that's oftentimes a really big strategy is to just bring out a low-level character on the opposite side of a map, and all the enemies will just ignore the characters that can actually do damage and just go towards them. But that doesn't work here because they'll only attack you if they're in range. And here's another map that you need to intentionally die on, so try and capture him. So Laharl is the main character of the previous game, and he just kind of attacks you because he feels like it. And he gets rid of the insignia on Roslyn, and this happens. She becomes evil and all-powerful. So that big damage there, that's nothing.
Yeah, all of these stats we're seeing right now are kind of like the tip of the iceberg for this game. This game eventually gets stats in the billions, which is a bit crazy. But getting to that level takes a very long time.
Yeah, if you grind enough, you can actually see damage. Like, they have a K there just to shorten how much damage you're actually doing. Because they're not going to show every single digit on the damage meter. But for main game, this is really, really high. So this is just kind of a story battle here. So we're all just kind of scared of what who Roslyn actually is, but we managed to get her back to normal. But then we finally found a way to Xenon's castle. So that's where we're actually going now. And this is where the game gets kind of difficult. I have to be careful in quite a few number of areas.
This is the penultimate chapter now, I think? Yeah.
The gates. So all of these red panels are no lifting and 20% damage. And if I get close enough to them, they'll move and attack, but I like their positions. So I'm going to throw, attack, and then walk back. So they don't attack me. Not because I can't take the damage, but because I want to keep them in those positions. It's really convenient. Here I actually need to check the resistances. Okay, that's good. So in this case, Del goes here. So on this map, there's a skeletal dragon on the way on the other side with enemy boost ×3 on it. And while I could get rid of that enemy boost ×3 effect, it's not in the most convenient position to try and get rid of. So every turn I'm going to be buffling Roslyn's damage stat or hit so that I can actually defeat that skeletal dragon in one hit. And another thing is that skeletal dragon is I
forget what it is, but he's got a really nasty passive, I think.
Yeah, I need to think about this real quick. And use one of my backup items on Adele. Make sure I get all my movement. He takes skeletal dragons take half damage to all physical attacks. And if you're remembered earlier, Rose Liberation is a magic attack, which is really convenient here. But I need it to be Rosalind to actually be high enough in terms of her damage. So I need to buff all the time. And Rosalind can use the skill Kneel Before Me on herself somehow to buff her own accuracy. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it works. And this guy here is resistant to fire alongside my Adele not being that great. So he's taking a while to die. So this map here is the main reason why I had Yukimaru equipped with a fist, even though she's proficient in swords. Since she's actually going to have an appearance. She's going to just sit there for a good number of turns. So now, the gimmick of this map is that I can only lift, like I can't lift on anyone who is on these aqua panels. Resist. Dang it. And after a certain number of turns, what will happen is the symbol there that's moving is enemy boost ×3, and the enemies will become significantly harder. My goodness. I have not been getting very good luck here. Okay, at least both of those were moved. That's sort of a silver lining. I actually want as many enemies to attack Rosalind as possible so that I can kill them faster and have fewer enemies alive by the time they get to enemies ×3. So this formation that these zombies have, I bring Yukimaru specifically to get them back into place. Actually, no. Right here. And then Adele attacks right there. So the turn just before the enemy boost ×3 is going to take into effect. I can actually take out all 3 of the zombies in one hit. And I'll get Yukimaru over here just in case. Because right now this is the turn with triple enemy boost. And I'm not confident that Rosalind can actually survive that attack. There we go. So with so few damage dealers that we have in the speedrun, you need to complete that map within a limited number of turns. And this next map is Agito the Reaper, the potentially very dangerous map. So I will be saving. Or not. I was incorrect. I think it's the map after this. Trying to remember all of my optimizations can be a bit rough at times. It's a bit easier to do in like a platformer where you're only running the game for about half an hour. But here it's 2 hours straight of
minute optimizations.
Mhm.
Otherwise the enemies are going to move in. Like these enemies are all usually manipulable. There's not really much randomness in how they move. So the first turns, you can get them in good positions.
Oh, there's still quite a bit of randomness. In Disgaea 1, there's not as much randomness.
Yeah.
But in this one, there's quite a bit of randomness in how they move. You can manipulate them sometimes. That's the extent of manipulation in this game, is that it sometimes works. there. No, I'm going to do a manipulation right here with the female ninja on the left. And again, it works sometimes. I wanted the ninja on the left to actually use Tiger Charge on Rosalind. How should I do this? They're both low on HP. Let's see. I'm going to play it a bit safe. I don't trust the amount of HP that they have. Question is who should I heal? I'll go with Adele here. I don't think Rosalind will die. There we go. That was a good choice. Also, this mage here is on an evade panel.
Bad luck.
Bad luck.
She's also getting quite buffed from that panel, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
Well, she's got no MP left. She's not very efficient with her MP usage. I cut it pretty close. Yeah, this next map, Agito the Reaper, has one specific enemy. There's one specific samurai, and he can kill Adele, and if he does, I can't really continue on with the map. On top of that, there are a lot of really annoying effects, like the warp panels here not actually working when you need them to work to actually continue on with the stage. So that donation there, go ahead and read it.
Yeah, we have a $60 donation from Elias, and that puts up to $25,000. Good job, guys. And the comment was, sniping that 25K, keep it up. And thanks to the US government, we're going to match this 10 times. We got $250,000, so $250,000 so far. Good job.
So, ooh, that was lucky.
Weak to fire?
Weak to fire. So, the clinch moment of this map, the major clinch moment was averted. Although, again, something happened. This warp panel just didn't work. So I have to wait another turn of Rosalind getting hit before I can actually continue. And I want to get rid of all those aqua panels to... Well, that's a good instance of a panel not working. Usually it's bad if the warp panel doesn't work. Rosalind will be fine. Adele can die here, and that's okay. Like, usually I expect him to die. But he's there to do as much as he can. And there he goes. Especially with not having the greatest Adele means that I kind of expected him to die. But that's why I bought all those extra healing items, so I can actually deal with that. Right there. And then next turn I can get rid of both the mages. It's actually the last Rose Liberation use I have. That's a very scary map.
It's a very long map as well. The way it's designed is take as long as possible.
I'll save it here just in case, but I think I will be fine. This is the one map we're talking about that.
Yeah, so there's 2 enemies on this map that are each resistant to either physical or magical. But because of Rosalind's level 50 ability, we can just use that to kill the one that's immune to physical.
But more importantly, these enemies here, there's skeletal dragons that are resistant to all physical, and then the holy dragons, which are immune to all non-elemental, non-elemental special attacks. I don't have an elemental attack that is magic-based. So the damage to the holy dragons has to come from Adele, and the damage to the skeletal dragons has to come from Rosalind, which can make this map be quite a pain. Except I got really lucky there.
I think they were all weak, because that was really good.
I think one of them was neutral, and I got a crit. That was the best I've had this entire year on those specific enemies. Clapping for RNG. I like it. You had all those enemies there just sitting on boost panels, but they didn't really do anything. So this is the enemy that's immune to magic. So I'll use Gaia Blast. And then have Adele bait the guy that's immune to physical. While I kill off this healer.
Nice counter RNG. Counters are fairly random. 99% of the time you'll always get a counter if you've got 3 counters. But you end up with these ridiculous counter chains.
That did no damage because he was immune to physicals. Final episode. Everyone. This is it. So all these blue panels are evade, and I want to get them off, so.
Leave a weak character in the middle. They all chase it. In perfect formation.
Perfect. And here, try and get them to attack Adele. I don't have the greatest of formations. Yeah, that wasn't the greatest of formations. I actually want to keep Adele alive here, so I'll lift him, and then they'll attack the warrior. And there are some other enemies I need to attack on the other side, so I'll get that started. Yeah, so this map is fairly straightforward. It's not exactly simple, but I want to get on these evade panels to get them off of the evade panels. Just try and keep the advantage on sort of the high ground advantage, if you will. Come on, Adele.
I think ninjas have a 50% chance to evade anyway. Is that right, or?
I don't think that's the case in this one. This map is fun. So, in my PB, I actually lost 2 minutes on this map because I made one incorrect movement. And since then, I've actually made a newer strat that makes it go a bit faster. But all those red panels is no lifting. So I have to make a giant chain ahead of time. Over here. Wait, I need to check something real quick. Okay, I'll use. I need the second and third characters here to be low HP or low leveled, because it will manipulate this tree ant here to not move, because the way I'm going to be defeating the majority of these enemies is with this symbol right here. Right here, 20% damage. I'll throw it on. However, the tree ants recover 20% HP every turn, so I can't really kill them that way. But by getting those low-level tamers, or low HP tamers there, the tree ant will not move. The Nekomatas will do that ahead of time. So I have Roslyn in this specific position to take out the tree ant, and then Adele to take out this last mage right here. Go ahead with the donation.
Yeah, we have a $5 donation from Tubzilla saying, "Shut up and trust this."
It's a famous line in the ending. It's the critical line. So now the rest of these enemies just take 20% damage every turn. And because those Alrounds haven't actually done any actions, they're not triggered to heal, even though they have heal spells. So now we're in the stage where we see Yukimaru's older brother.
On our side this time.
Yeah. The imposter Yukimaru that we saw earlier was actually him. I'm going to be disappointed in you, Adele. You're not going to actually kill these guys. I know it.
Nope.
Yep. Oh. Roslyn actually took a lot of damage there that she normally doesn't take. Probably because those guys usually die.
These towers are right in the way of the action as well.
The AI of these guys is actually aggressive, so they will go after the weaker enemies. I guess the gunners are an exception to that, since they'll just attack whatever's in range. And every turn, all the enemies level up. There's a panel that Adele is going to go to fix that. But
Rip. Oh,
oh no,
barely.
he barely survived. He sometimes gets in the way, and he sometimes actually is useful. So I'm not going to hesitate to kill him.
Luckily, he doesn't turn on you.
Like, his main attack there, Midari Fubuki, is Ice Elemental, and it's, again, elements are random. So that's why he can sometimes be useful and sometimes just do nothing. Just attack and then counterattack over, back and forth, and that just usually wastes time because he never actually kills anything. I threw the symbol, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I forget to throw the symbol. That's the symbol that makes them level up every turn. And I mostly want to do that to keep the HP of this Treant low, because he heals every turn. Alright, the most difficult map in the entire game. This is...
Is this the last boss now?
No, second.
quite.
This is
Okay.
the second to last map. The last boss is easy. This is basically the last boss in terms of difficulty. This map right here. There's a lot going on.
Oh no. Yeah. So
I'm on a sort of a time limit on this map. A turn limit. Dell.
after so many turns, I think it becomes impossible unless you have moves with like extreme range.
After a certain number of turns, these panels become ally damage 20%, and it increases all the way to 80% after each turn. Wait. What's that? No, that was neutral. And there are a lot of high HP enemies on this map, including holy dragons there. Which Adele pretty much has to be the one to kill. And at the very end, there's another extremely high HE enemy. So I need to keep Rosalind's damage really high. I think he's that stats effect doesn't help, and I don't think I have anything to get rid of stats effects except for the healer, who's supposed to be my damage buffer. So I think this will kill. Yeah, that's good. I need to get rid of both of these symbols. I can't lift them because they're no entry symbols, and if I lift them, that makes every single purple panel no lifting. I've made that mistake before and soft locked the game before. So I actually have to attack them. Adele has done everything.
Almost done. Last boss is just a single enemy, which in Disgaea is ridiculously easy to beat.
Just be a bit safe and heal, because I have healing items to work with. Well, this guy, I just need to get to him. Stay out of range. Yeah, see that right there. 20%.
Every turn from now on, an extra one will jump on a panel and stack the effect some more.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're well prepared, that area is really hard. All right.
It's pretty much over.
Yeah, this is this fight is if you know what you're doing, this fight's a bit of a joke. Using the lift, you can just get free hits. So 10 characters, 2 of them overpowered. You can just lift him to stop him from doing anything, and then just keep hitting with his strongest attacks until he's dead.
What I'm doing right now is I'm, while he's getting towards me, I'm buffing Roslyn, and then having the other characters there just to get Xenon to get closer and closer. So I'm just stacking buffs.
How much HP has he got? Like 20,000 or?
About, yeah, 20,000. And lifting is a pretty good mechanic.
That's it. He can't do anything.
Completely powerless to the power of lifting.
You gonna turn on the animations for the last hit, or
Sure.
leave it the whole way through, just to show what move we've been spamming the entire time? Because you have an animation skipped the whole run.
Let's actually use Tri-Burst here. Whoa. I'm actually going to heal him so we can see both of the animations.
Vulcan Blaze.
Vulcan Blaze as well. Pretty sure Vulcan Blaze won't do more than 3,000.
Vulcan Blaze is the better one anyway.
Yeah. I'm not going to use Soaring Fire. The animation of Soaring Fire is just...
It's not that great.
It's just a dive kick. So let's turn the animations on. You can see the anime finish.
Enemy is so large you can't actually see him behind the sprite.
Yeah, I've used this attack a few times. This is Adele's level 50 attack. In Heroes Liberation, you can see Rosalind's insignia.
Most useful move in the run. But not that great, like, cinematic.
That's fine.
Rip.
Well. And time. So we finally beat Overlord Xenon.
It's over. Sorry?
So we finally beat Overlord Xenon, and he...
2:17:21.
That's not bad.
21.
It's not bad. My original estimate was 230, but I had a bad Adele, didn't have the greatest RNG. Essentially what happens is Roslyn ends up becoming
Who she really is.
who she really is, which is actually Overlord Xenon. The fake Xenon took the identity of real Overlord Xenon. And Ryuzan is a being of solitude.